in. Oh, my shop's a mess. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan. Welcome back to my channel. Let's see if I can set you guys somewhere where I don't have to hold this the whole time. Very precarious. Just do something like this for now. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So professional. I don't know. You guys can see me. Whatever. I'll get to it. I just want to make a quick video. I know I've been haven't been super active lately. Not that, it's really hard to stay motivated to be active when you're not popular. Yet, you're not going to get popular unless you're, motivated to stay active. It's very... Anyways. I just finished listening to a podcast with the Higher Side Chats with Greg Carlwood, and his guest was, and this episode is not new by any means. I believe it's like 4 years old. But I'm slowly working my way through every episode of the Higher Side Chats because I feel like I learned more from this than anything. It was with David Rodriguez, and it was about the education conspiracy and the history of forced schooling, which I kind of looked into this just a little bit because I've listened to the School Sucks podcast, who talks about John Taylor Gatto. And John Taylor Gatto is kind of a big proponent about this forced schooling system that we have, and the way we force kids to go to school. We kind of force them and tell them, what subjects they're going to take and how long they're going to sit in class and what they're going to do and yada, yada, yada. The list goes on and on. And I'd kind of made a video about this a while back. But it just sucks. Our education system right now is terrible, in my opinion, because, we force these kids to go to school. We force them to sit in class for, close to 8 hours a day. I mean, essentially, like I said in my previous video, it teaches kids how to be obedient factory workers. And that's almost it. It completely negates any sort of free thinking. It negates creative thinking. They might create the illusion of it. We have art class that you still put a grade on. Grading system, like this Mr. David Rodriguez was saying, a grading system that we use in school is so arbitrary, because basically all it's doing is teaching kids to need someone else's approval based on a rating system, essentially. YouTube, social media things only reinforce those things in our minds. It just sucks. And I really am going to start doing a lot more research into Gatto's work and into Mr. Rodriguez sort of speaked. Wow, maybe I need to go back to school. Was speaking for Gatto, because Gatto, I don't even know if he's still alive today as I'm filming this. I probably should look that up. But he was too ill, around the time of the podcast to be able to do interviews and stuff. So David Rodriguez is kind of publishing works for Gatto and helping get this message out there for him and with him. And I'd like to do a lot more research into those things, because I have young children that are, my older one is going to be going into like preschool this next year, and I'm not so sure that I want to send him to public school. I don't know that, private schooling is much better. Unless it's like a super ritzy, high-class school, which can't afford that. I'll probably, hopefully, be making another video on stuff like that soon, being able to afford things and what we do. Because, the public schooling system, it's terrible in the sense that the school makes money based on your kid being there. They don't necessarily want your kid to do good. They want your kid to obey and follow the rules. create good little factory workers. And I don't necessarily think I want my kids to do that. Now I know probably what will get brought up is the social aspect. Well, you get to go socialize. That is true. I'm not saying school and learning is bad. I'm saying the system we use right now is terrible. Of course we need to learn and educate and teach our children things. So, but they brought up on the podcast about, doing local group schooling, homeschooling, but having more than just your kids sitting there, get your community together, do your own schooling. They're nesting up in my rafters. I just hope that, and I know that message was old and older, about 4 or 5 years old, and nothing has changed since then. I know that. And now with COVID-19, it's probably going to get even worse. They're talking about when kids go back to school, they can't be within 6 feet of each other. They have to have their one-way lines in the hallway, and that it's just breeding more of this automaton. Don't think for yourself. Only do what we tell you. You must ask for permission to do things. That's insane. I mean, Greg even shares a story about when he was young, that he was raising his hand and sitting patiently because he had to pee so bad. He was sitting there waiting to be told he could go to the bathroom, and the teacher was ignoring him to the point where he pissed his pants in class as a 6-year-old. Because we're taught at such a young age, you have to wait to be told, yes, you're allowed to go to the bathroom. Is that really something we should want our kids to think is necessary? That your kid has to think they have to be told they have to go to the bathroom? I mean, and it stretches into things like my job today. A buddy and I were talking about it today. Is a lot of the guys I work with, they have most of them have no creative drive. They just want to be told what to do so that they can do it and then go home and do nothing. And I'm not saying all of them. Some of them have creative hobbies and stuff outside of that. But they're very good workers, and we're told it's a good thing to be a good worker. And I know there's no hope of like a perfect society where we all work for ourselves and we're all our own boss. I'm not that naive to think that. However, I do like what Greg and Mr. Rodriguez talk about in that episode, where they would just like to see more of people being creative, in a sense of, even if you don't start a giant, huge, multi-million-dollar business, you start something that's useful enough to where even if it's just more similar to how it used to be way back in the day, maybe I am a mechanic, so I can help out my community as being their mechanic. Maybe my neighbor is a great baker. Maybe they can bake me some food. Maybe, you guys know what I'm saying. More like just small community stuff would be much better, in my opinion. I mean, hopefully we can get back to that kind of stuff someday. I don't want to keep everybody too long. Hopefully I'm going to try to be a little more active in the coming weeks, because I know I've been very inactive, and I've just been having stuff piling up in my mind, and it's just very easy to get it out to the camera. And I've been listening to the higher side chats like crazy, and I did a previous video about that. Go check that one out. I really should update it, because obviously I have even more good things to say about it, and I should be signing up for higher side chats plus soon, because I would love to listen to that second hour. However, I'm still only about halfway through the content that's already there. So if I then double the content again, I'll never get caught up. I've been very fortunate lately that my job hasn't been taking me as far away from home. However, that just kind of cuts down on my podcasting time. So yeah, with that, I hope somebody can at least get something out of this. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to comment, and we will discuss some of this stuff. I would like to hear what other people think about this, and see where we could go from here. Because I think something needs to change. Something has needed to change a long time, but something really needs to change. Yeah, so I hope everybody has a great day. Stay safe out there, and hope to catch you next one.